This is my Module 16 Parent Apathy case study. Category 1, Problem Identification and Analysis. What do you know? Mrs. Rose is the new assistant principal at John F. Kennedy School. She completed her Ed Admin Master's the summer before starting at John F. Kennedy School, and School Community Relations was the last course she took. John F. Kennedy School had very limited contact with outside community and involvement with the parents. There is no PTA or PTO, but there has been some parent groups in the past. Mrs. Rose brought her concerns about how little involvement and contact the school has with the community to the head principal, but he didn't share the same concerns with her, citing that he had encountered a lot of parent apathy and very few parents showed up in meetings. He said that he had tried to get parent and volunteers to work in the cafeteria, but few had responded. The head principal thought they didn't want to get too involved. The head principal did say that he felt that he was in direct contact with the community since he had heard comments from parent-teacher conferences and several parent phone calls. Even though the head principal comments were different than what she had learned in her school community relations class, Mrs. Rose didn't push the matter. 5. Later, Mrs. Rose brought up the matter again, and the principal agreed that the involvement should change, but that he wouldn't approve of any type of PTA or PTO. He agreed to consider forming a parents' advisory group. 6. That Friday announcement was distributed to the students to give to their parents, informing them of a special meeting on parent involvement a week from the next Monday at 7:30 p.m. 7. On the night of the meeting, 8 parents showed up, which caused the principal and Mrs. Rose to question even going on with the meeting. The head principal was not in favor of continuing the meeting because he didn't feel the parents who showed up would represent the parent population properly. What do you need to know? 1. What parent groups had there been in the past? 2. What kind of meetings had parents been allowed to attend? 3. Was the only option for parent involvement cafeteria volunteer work? 4. How big is this community? 5. How long had it been since parents were allowed to be involved in school? 6. Is the head principal fairly new to the district? 7. Are there a lot of parents from different cultural backgrounds in the community? Families. 8. Has the school ever had partnerships with businesses in the area? 9. Why is the principal so adamant about the parents not forming a PTA or PCO? 10. Is sending out parent notes with students the only form of contact with parents besides phone calls? 11. Is this the only school in the district? If no, how is the parent involvement at the other schools? Is this just about the grade they are in? C. The problem. The problem that needs addressed is that parent and community involvement in John F. Kennedy School is basically non-existent. The assistant principal is new to administration and was taught the importance and need for community and parent involvement, but the head principal does not see a need for it and is unwilling to allow parents to form a PTA or PTO. When the head principal, at the assistance of the assistant, finally agreed to allow parent involvement with maybe a parent advisory board, few parents showed up because they don't feel like they are being heard or wanted in school. There are no business partnerships mentioned or public relation efforts. Category 2. Propose plan of action with appropriate strategies for implementation. Step 1. First, I will discuss and link with the principal why he does not feel a PCA or PTO is needed at John F. Kennedy School. I would ask him questions about why he is so hesitant to allow parent and community involvement. The following would be the questions I would ask. 1. How long has it been since a parent or community group was been formed? 2. Are there any issues within the school that the parents or community could help with? 3. Were there any business partnerships that the school had before the principal arrived or during his time at the school? 4. What are the wanted outcomes of having parent-community involvement? 5. Have any parents or community members ever expressed the desire to be involved in the school? 6. How does other staff feel about parent involvement? Step 2. Second, I would discuss with the school staff what their perception and wants or needs are when it comes to parent-community involvement. I would lead meetings on the issues so that I could get a group consensus and then have staff members fill out surveys to get individual feelings. I would send out the surveys electronically so they can be gathered and kept in one location. Step 3. Third, I would send out student surveys, if their age group allowed, asking for what they wanted from the community and what they needed from the community, what they wanted from the school, what they needed from the school, and what partnerships they thought would be most beneficial. Step 4. Next, I would look to the community for their perceptions and wants or needs. I would send out surveys both electronically and through the mail to families of students and community members without children. I feel that even if community members don't have children in the school, they should still have the option of being involved in the school. I would determine if these surveys need to be translated into multiple languages so that certain families do not feel left out because of their cultural background. After I receive the surveys, I will determine what the community needs and what their perceptions of the school are. Step 5. Fifth, I will look at how other schools have parents and community members involved in the school and change the structure as needed for John F. Kennedy School. I would have both the principal and myself visit other schools so that we could see effective partnerships, involvement, and PR. Step 6. If needed, I would determine from a school and community if a PR person would need to be put in place or if PR responsibilities could be divided up between administrative staff without overwhelming anyone. PR is very important. Having good school image is essential to success. According to Carl Smith and Rayback, 2001, an effective school public relations plan provides value by giving people information they can use, not just information that the school needs to convey about process. Effective public relations means schools ask for and receive information just as much as they transmit it. Step 7. Once I had heard from each entity, I would set up a community meeting where everyone in the community is invited to discuss the needs and wants for the school and student body that I've gathered both from the school and the community. This meeting would be just to inform. After that, I would have parents and community members form groups and appoint leaders to be in contact with the school. They would appoint leaders. I would use other districts as a model and tailor it to fit our needs. It is important that only some parents and community members are in charge so that there is a ladder of communication. In the groups that are formed, I would mostly be an advisory member and not involved in the runnings. It is important that there is a good relationship between the school community and that parents and others feel involved in their students' education. I would recommend parents being involved in fundraisers, extracurricular activities, and be actively involved in the school instead of just being allowed to volunteer in the lunchroom. Step 8. Lastly, I would work with staff and community members during this transition time. I would keep everyone involved in what was happening and work to remedy the problems as they arise. Communication is important, and we can't keep any one group in the dark on issues. Category 3. Resolve the issues based on promoting the success of all students. According to the Garden City High School Student Handbook, 2017, the roles and responsibility of a parent of a student at high school includes the following. A thorough education of any student cannot be complete without a sincere and cooperative interest by parents. The education of students is much more easily achieved if parents recognize the importance of the following. Responsibilities of the parents are, number 1, showing sincere interest in academic extracurricular performance of their student. 2, ensure punctual attendance. 3, establish and maintain openness and communication with the school. 4, take responsibility for their students' health, personal cleanliness, grooming, and suitable clothing. 5, assume responsibility in working with school personnel and community agencies in solving behavioral issues. 6, develop and maintain their students' respect for law, other people, and the property of others. 7, help the students develop responsibility for their own actions. Students need encouragement. Encourage them with your positive expectations. Help them aim high. As shown above, parents play a very important role in the school. They can support their students in the work they do and help them in decisions they make, like what elective classes they should take and extracurricular activities they should participate in. Parents also see their students more than most teachers do, especially middle school and high school teachers who only have a student one class a day. Parents can support their students by understanding their needs and struggles and working to get the help they need, both in school and out of school. Students struggle to want to go to school sometimes, and parents should educate their children on why school is important so that students aren't just getting it from one source. Students need the basic understanding of certain concepts like respect, responsibility, and perseverance. These concepts are usually taught before a student reaches school age and can help them do their best in school. Students are the main focus in any school, and it is very important to keep this in mind while making any decisions. If parents are not involved in the school, then they won't be as willing to help students with issues that arise. Parents shouldn't just have the option of volunteering in the cafeteria. They should be able to volunteer in their students' classroom to help bring more lessons alive. Students also need opportunities to interact with the community, especially when deciding on a career after school. According to the importance of school and community collaboration, most people would agree that it is considerably easier for children to develop and learn with the support of strong families who in turn enjoy the support of individuals and institutions in their surrounding communities. Students need to know what they can do, especially if they stay in the area. Having partnerships within the community will help students feel connected with their community, and it could make them more willing to work and volunteer with those businesses and companies that support them. Support from the community is also welcomed when students are showcasing their talents and work they have done while in school. Students' efforts should be commended by everyone, not just their teachers. As of right now, there are no partnerships within the community. Partnerships could help the school with getting new materials needed for classrooms or adding new clubs and activities. It takes a village to raise a child. According to The Importance of School and Community Collaboration, communities also can furnish schools and the students in them with crucial financial support systems as well as the social and cultural values necessary for success and survival in contemporary society. Finally, communities have the potential to extend a variety of opportunities to students and their families, social, cultural, and vocational. Many times when I make parent phone calls, it is to notify them of issues that I have with students like behavioral problems or poor grades. I don't usually call every parent to tell them what good things their student is doing, even though that is something that every teacher should do. Many teachers and administrators focus more on the students falling behind. When the principal stated that he knew the pulse of the community from several parent phone calls and from parent conferences, I was concerned because in my experience, parents are called and conferenced with because of issues that have arisen with their children, with their students. The pulse the principal had gotten was just from parents who don't care about their children, which caused the principal to make those phone calls and schedule those meetings. When parents are involved in a student's life, they can start to fall behind and not care about their education since the people in their lives don't seem to care. The students and parents who don't have issues shouldn't be punished because of others who have an attitude of not helping. Several is not all, and not all parents expect educators to do all the work. Students want their parents involved and supportive. The community is not just made up of parents and students. Some community members are very involved in certain student lives, more than their parents actually are. All community members should have the option of participating in the school, whether they have students in the school or not. Many community members could bring ideas to the school that could help students, and they shouldn't be left out because they don't have an actual investment in the school. Community members do have an investment in the school. When the principal said that he had felt the pulse of the community, he was leaving out a lot of different community members by only notifying parents of meetings and maybe only letting parents be on advisory boards. Students would benefit more from all of the community being involved instead of just parents. Category 4. Debrief the problem by reflecting on what you were thinking, feeling, valuing, and by identifying issues that are unresolved or open to further investigation. A. As I responded to this problem, I was first thinking about the experiences I have had as a teacher in a large school district and the experiences I had within the community where I grew up. According to The Importance of School and Community Collaboration, by working together, school, families, and communities can prepare for a more promising future. In urban communities struggling against violence, unemployment, and deteriorating institutions, school-community collaboration offers hope for those who may have given up on the social institutions in their neighborhoods or cities. Rural communities searching for opportunities to revitalize themselves in a technologically sophisticated society can discover ways to bring themselves in the information age by intertwining school and community improvement initiatives. I went to a small school where the community was very involved in the runnings of the school. Many parents and community members came to showcases and programs. They also donated goods and services to help the school with purchasing new supplies and fundraising in general. Many parents volunteered their time to help their students succeed. It helped me to know that so many families were supporting the school. When I saw them out in the community as I was working or after games, they would comment on what they had recently watched or heard about what I had accomplished. It made me really feel like the whole community was looking at me, and rooting for my success. John F. Kennedy School was very different from the school I went to. Even the attitude of the principal was absolutely foreign to me. As I was thinking about what could have happened, the success of the students does not just depend on the school. According to The Importance of School and Community Collaboration, when families, schools, and community institutions, e.g. local businesses, community colleges, and health agencies, collectively agree upon their goals and decide how to reach them, everyone benefits. Even though student success can happen without community involvement, it is more likely to happen for more than just a handful of students, if more people are involved in making success happen. Everyone in the school needs to understand and support this. I was very concerned that there was no mention of other staff members bringing up the same issues as Mrs. Rose. I'm assuming that the principal shut down pretty quickly if someone brought it up, which wasn't beneficial to anyone. I was also thinking about what could have happened to the principal to make him so against parent involvement, especially PCA and PTO. There wasn't a lot of information on the demographics or history of the school and principal, so I had to assume a lot of information. I assumed that the principal was fairly new to the district because of his attitude and how he reacted to Mrs. Rose's concerns about school and community involvement. If the school where he grew up and or taught in had an issue with too much parent involvement, it could have made a bad impression on the head principal. When the head principal said that he knew that if he put a lot of effort in trying to get them involved, the consequences would be negative, making the situation worse, it made me really wonder what experiences he had had in the past to make him think so negatively about parent and community involvement. According to Chanswaski, Rands, and Thompson, this distrust, of course, is a two-way street. Parents and community leaders often regard the schools within a neighborhood as fortresses that are integration and educational innovations offered by a variety of specialized schools has created many community situations in which the local school has few local students. The local school becomes seen as a kind of redoubt occupied by strangers. This will only harm the school and the community. Lastly, I was curious as to why the invitation for the meeting was only sent out with students. The age group the school catered to was not mentioned, but in my experience, students at any age level don't always have the responsibility to get their parents' messages that are sent home. Many of my students lose anything, paper, almost immediately, after it becomes no longer necessary. Students lose things all the time, even large expensive things like phones and iPads. Some students might even purposely have lost the invitation so that their parents wouldn't know about the option of being involved in school, while others might have thrown them away because they knew their parents would not be interested in participating. Now that so many people have social media access to the internet, I would have sent home the announcements, posted notices around the school, and posted information on the school website, Facebook page, etc. I would have also given the parents and community members more notice about the meeting. I feel the meeting was not set up or talked about correctly, which led to the poor turnout. This could have been remedied easily, but instead probably led to the principal thinking that it was a wasted effort and he would be reluctant to try again in the future. B. The first issue that still needs to be addressed is the head principal and his attitude. As mentioned previously, he was open to very little parent involvement, and there was no mention of other community entities being involved in the school. This problem all depends on the head principal being on board with building relationships within the community. According to Carl Smith and Raisback, 2001, schools may experience resentment from teachers and administrators that all of these outside publics are having a say in the educational process and making demands on their already overworked schedules. However, if they don't listen and respond, schools will deteriorate, their working conditions will become less favorable, then in the long run they will be hurt by the public's lack of engagement. It is in everyone's best interest to open the doors and let the public in as meaningful partners. The head principal would need to understand the need of these relationships and support it. Since I would only be the assistant principal, I wouldn't have all the say to go ahead with my implementation plan. The second issue that still needs addressed is how the school communicates with the community at large. Especially now, it is very important that the school is its biggest supporter when it comes to its image and promoting themselves. Just a few years ago, it wasn't as important to have a good website or Facebook page, but now that is what many community members used to see what is going on in the school. Prospective families and employees often look to these as well to see the type of environment they would be in. It is very important that the school has a good image, and someone would need to be in charge of keeping that up. According to 10 Steps to Promote Your School, consider traditional and modern advertising methods. Traditional advertising is putting print ads, while more modern advertising might be running an active Facebook page as well as using other social media like Twitter and Pinterest. You can never boast too much about a school. Resources would need to be used to put this in place. Lastly, the admin team members, the assistant and head principal, can't do all the work. With this situation, a PR connector is needed. According to Raising the Bar for School PR, New Standards for the School Public Relations Profession, a skilled school public relations professional performs essential communication functions to help improve the programs and services of an educational organization. There seems to be a lot of resentment between both the school and the community, and outside help would be a great asset to remedy this and help with this new image. A connector would also really help with going into the community to build relationships. According to Chanswaski, Rands, and Thompson, discovering the resources represented by the school, the responsibility of the connector include the following. Initiate and lead a process of asset mapping, continuously discover the resources represented by the school's many common community resources, including community residents and parents, churches, voluntary associations, public, private, and nonprofit institutions, and physical assets. Create a database of community resources uncovered from the asset mapping process. Cultivate and nurture strategic community school partnerships with residents, local institutions, and community-based businesses in the community, including local police district. Develop mutually beneficial relationships that remain consistent with the goals and missions of the school. Work with the advisory board as a bridge between the school and various sectors of the community, as an interpreter of the school to the community and vice versa, as a negotiator of win-win scenarios, as a broker among assets. Additionally, work with the advisory board to develop a continuous needs assessment process to determine the social and emotional needs of youth who are entering the school, i.e. gang violence prevention, drug use prevention, etc. Use community-based relationships and prevention efforts. Open up opportunities for teachers, students, and parents to partner with community groups and organizations in mutually beneficial activity. Assist in the recruiting of students to the campus. Promote the school's success throughout the community. Attend meetings on growth issue-related community issues as a representative of the school. Perform community-based research as needed to enhance community school partnerships. Plan, implement, and coordinate special events for community members and students to enhance community school partnerships, i.e. school open houses for teachers and parents or students, student recruitment fairs. With the animosity that seems to exist between the school and community at large, a connector could do wonders to help find and promote relationships throughout the community so that each group can succeed and work together in harmony. In the end, the success of the student is what needs to be focused on. Category 5, Reflection on Standard 7. How did you, as an educational leader, promote the academic success of every student while addressing the issues revealed in the case study? I promoted the academic success of every student while addressing the issues by determining student, staff, community, and family needs with meetings and surveys. In Category 2, I proposed meeting with each entity, school, staff, students, community members, and families to determine each of their wants and needs. By doing this, I focused on what each group needed from both the school and the surrounding community for student success. After I gathered the needed information, I would then sort those ideas into categories to determine what was needed the most for more student success and what could be implemented the fastest. I would keep student success in mind when determining the needs and wants of the community and school. Student success is the most important and why relationships between the school and community are needed. In Category 3, I promoted student success by backing up claims that student success is more prevalent with community and family involvement. I also discussed how parent involvement is more than just receiving phone calls and being at parent-teacher conferences. If a student is falling behind, yes, the parents need to be notified of it so the situation can be remedied as soon as possible. But students that are already succeeding also need to be supported and recognized for their achievements. I'm promoting student success by showcasing student success and work to not only their families but also community members so that they feel like their achievements actually mean something. If students are recognized for doing well, they're more likely to continue doing so. In Category 3, I also discussed how having partnerships within the community can help students determine career choices. If students have a goal in mind when going to school, they are more likely to work hard to achieve that goal, especially if they know they will have to continue into higher education after high school. Community members can also be mentors to students, especially ones with less than stable home lives. Having these partnerships can help more students succeed by supporting them and allowing them opportunities they didn't have before, like getting job experience and having safe places to go. How did you, as an educational leader, promote the personal well-being of every student while addressing the issues revealed? In Category 2, I promoted the personal well-being of every student by proposing staff members also be involved in sharing their ideas for student success and being able to discuss their perceptions of the schools as well. This way, students see how staff members do have a personal stake in the student's education. This promotes students' well-being by showing them that not only does family care about their success, staff members do as well. The personal well-being of every student should be discussed and linked with staff members, and they play a very important role in promoting this. In Category 3, I discussed how community members are very influential in student lives, especially if they struggle in their home lives. Having partnerships within the community would help students have more opportunities to find mentors in the community and get the help they need. School isn't just about teaching student lessons and the concepts they need for the next stage in their lives. It's about giving students the chance to succeed in life after school. Students need to also learn how to be responsible citizens, and community members could help with this. In Category 3, I promoted the personal well-being of every student by discussing how failing and struggling students don't just need to have their parent involved in their education. All parents should be involved in the education of their children because students are more likely to feel supported and recognized. Student success isn't just about academic success. It's about students feeling supported and cared for in aspects of their lives. Their well-being depends on their lives both in and out of school. Community members can help students by giving them safe places to go before and after school and being a place of refuge for them. The school can also do this as well. How did you, as an educational leader, promote communities of engagement for families and other stakeholders in the school's community while addressing the issues revealed in the case study? In Category 2, in the plan I proposed, I promoted communities of engagement by gathering information from the community on their wants, needs, and the perceptions they had of the school. This way, I made sure all members of the community, not just families and students, felt their voices were being heard. I would use surveys and meetings to hear the real voice of the entire community, not just parts. This way, community members would feel more involved in the community because their ideas would be put into place in the school. In Category 2 and 3, I also proposed having community members be able to be involved in the advisory groups and committees so that parents aren't the only ones with the option of being involved in the school. This way, parents aren't the only ones that have the option with the school. This way, the community is involved in the learning of the students and are able to share their ideas. Also, parents are more engaged with the community and don't feel like the school is disconnected from the community. Each work together to make the school better instead of just focusing on what one entity can do. In Category 3, I promoted community engagement by discussing how helpful partnerships within the community can be for both the school and the community. Students could work with the community and gain job experience and receive materials needed for the school from donations and fundraising. Community members would also gain a lot from partnering with the school, like volunteers for certain jobs and advertisements at the school. Here are my references. And that.